Histograms are a type of bar graph used when there's a large range and not a lot of frequency of data. So let's look at this example. Let's pretend it is the number of sit-ups someone can do in a minute. And so we have these pieces of data, and there's not a lot of the same numbers. And we've got a good range. So we've got a good 20 some numbers that we're dealing with here because my lowest number is 16 and my highest number is 39. So that's a difference of 23 for my range. So we've got a bigger range. So we're not going to make a dot plot because if we made a dot plot, we'd have to have at least 23 numbers going across on our number line. And I'd have about one dot for each number. So that kind of seems silly to make it that way. So how do we make a histogram? Well, a histogram is a type of bar graph where we're going to use bars and we're going to use intervals. So we're going to group our data into blocks and get that going. So if we look at this, we've got a range of 23. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group my data by their place value. So I'm going to do all my numbers between 10 and 19 and group them into one bar. And then I'm going to take all my numbers from 20 to 29 and group them into one bar, and then 30 to 39 and group them on one bar. So that's the first step. The first step is to figure out how big we need to make each bar, how many of the numbers go into each bar. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little chart to get this going. All right, and I'm going to do tallies so I can figure out how many I have in each. All right. So if I have 37, 37 is going to go down here. 18 goes right here. 33 down here. 39. 26. 16. 28. And 34. Okay. Now there's a reason that I put these numbers, just so you would see where they're at. So I have two numbers in my 10 to 19 range. So when I make my bar, I'm only going to go up two numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that and put a 2. So this is the frequency of how many numbers happen between 10 and 19. Okay. Same with 26 and 28, there are two numbers. So this bar, when I make this bar in the histogram, is only going to go up two numbers. And this range has four numbers. So when I make my histogram, I'm going to have four numbers. All right, so let me show you how this looks. So it's going to be a bar graph. But the difference about this bar graph is I have intervals and the bars touch. So I'm going to go 10 to 19. 20 to 29, and 30 to 39. All right. Okay, these numbers are the numbers that go up the side. So that's my frequency. So that's how many times did that number occur in that grouping. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go ahead and count by ones. So from 10 to 19, I have 2. So I'm going to go up to the 2 and I'm going to make a nice fat bar. Okay, 20 to 29, I have two numbers in that category. So I'm going to make another fat bar and it's going to touch. Okay, and then 30 to 39 is 4. So I'm going to go up there and then that bar is going to touch. All right, so we're going to put, this is the number of sit-ups in a minute. Sit-ups. Okay, and this is the number of sit-ups. Okay, so using my vocabulary from the last video of dot plot, I know that I have a cluster of data in the 30 to 39 range. So let's pretend for a minute I don't know what any of these numbers are. This is the only thing I was given. So the problem with a histogram is I don't know what four numbers these are if I'm not given them in the original problem. Okay, so if it was just a stem with the question and we were just given the bars, I don't know what four numbers these are, but I know that there are 4 here, and this would be where my cluster is. Okay, there's no gaps because I have no holes in my data, and I have no outliers. I have no numbers that are way out far from it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do one more problem just to see how this works. Okay, so again, here I've got a range of 22 numbers, 2 to 24, that's a range of 22, and I have a lot of numbers that are different. So this is where a histogram becomes very useful, especially if I want to continue to see the frequencies of my data. So I need to create anywhere from 3 to 5 bars. So if I have a span of 22 numbers, I'm going to go ahead and count by fives. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and make my little tally chart over here, and I'm going to count 1 to 5. So all my numbers 1 through 5 are going to go right here. So that means down here I'm going to go 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, and 21 to 25. So all my numbers have a spot. I'm not going to put 5 here and 5 here, because then what if I had the number 5? Where would I put it? So none of these numbers should overlap going down. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and make just tally marks only on this. So 2 goes here. So that's one frequency in the 1 to 5 category. 6 is going to go in my second category. 15, 7, 24, 9, 11, 18, 4, and 12. All right, so now I have my frequencies. I have 2 numbers that are between 1 and 5, 4 that are between 6 and 10, 2 between 11 and 15, 1 between 16 and 20, and 21 and 25. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here and now make my graph. And I'm going to go ahead and put my intervals down. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and look over here. My highest frequency again is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to label frequency. And now I'm going to go ahead and make my bars. So I know that my 1 to 5 needs to go up 2. My 6 to 10 needs to go up 4. My 11 to 15 is 2. And then 1 and 1. All right. So if I wanted to say which is my most frequent interval, my most frequent interval is between 6 and 10. If I wanted to say what is my largest number, I couldn't answer that question if I'm only given the graph. All I can say is my largest number is located between 21 and 25. So again, a histogram is very useful when I have a larger range of data. There is not as many frequency as the numbers, so I don't have a lot of the same numbers. There's a lot of differences. So that is how you use a histogram.